Okay, looks like we are live. Welcome everybody to the 29-minute hangout. We've got a super special guest with us tonight. And as you know, and we all know, 29 minutes goes by real fast. So my name is Chef Doug DiMercurio. With me is my partner in crime, Chef Katrina Van Oudhouston. Did I say that right? I'll keep practicing. But in any event, Katrina, I'll turn it over to you for logistics, and then we'll go ahead and get this thing started. And I'll introduce our guest. She's frozen up. So I guess I introduce Katrina, and I'll do the logistics. So get ready to take notes, guys, because we got a very special guest tonight. Somebody I actually got to spend the weekend with up in Breckenridge, up in the high Rocky Mountains. And he's a superstar in the internet marketing world. And somebody that I'm sure you're all going to have plenty of questions. He's very entertaining. Bert, I'm not going to try and explain your background or that, and I'm going to stop screen sharing here so I can show my face. But yeah, I'm going to let you, I guess when we get started off here, the first thing we'll do is why don't you give us a little bit of your background and tell us, how you got into the internet marketing world and where it's taken you.
Sure. Well, first of all, let me thank you, Doug, and Katrina for having me over for the 29 minutes. I'm not going to go on and on about thank you so much because I don't want to eat up because I know the 29 minutes is going to go fast. But I really want you guys to know how much I appreciate you inviting me over to spend some time with you and to allow me to share my results with your audience. So the way that I really got into internet marketing was through network marketing. I was actually working at a local chiropractor. I had been for quite a few years, and I had really tapped out my ability to develop any more inside of that office. I was doing everything except for the chiropractic adjustment, right? I was helping the chiropractors in every single way that I possibly could, from taking x-rays to doing nutritional evaluations. And part of our office protocol was a new health and wellness supplement line. And that's how I got introduced to multi-level marketing. And I thought this was the greatest thing I've ever seen. I'd never seen the circles before, Doug. It was my first time. I saw the circles. I called my fiance at the time. I was like, babe, we're going to be rich. Like, wait, have you ever seen the circles? I tell you, we got to find 3 people. They're going to find 3 people, and then we're going to be rich, right? And that's how I started my online journey. And what happened was I made a couple $100 a few months in a row, and I quit that job, my full-time job. And I was like, man, I could totally do this. And when I quit that full-time job, that was all my customers. And so then I was like, hey, how can I do this? And my first thought was, I wonder if I could do this through my computer. I wonder if there's a way that I could do this online. And I reached out to the internet, and I started Googling, and I started looking for people that were doing it online. Just so happens that I found someone that was killing it, a guy by the name of Rob Ford that had some crazy SEO going, and he was all over. And Rob plugged me into a couple different things, and that was the beginning of my journey. And it's crazy that I'm talking to you right now, Doug, this week, because we're leading right into one of the biggest things that I did was like right away. I think it was like maybe 3.5 months into my online adventure and working online, there was this big live event that was happening, and I went to that live event, and it's coming up, right? This is like an anniversary for me, so to speak, right? So this event that's happening this weekend that I'm about to go to is really like, for me, kind of like a remembrance of, wow, man, this is like where it all started. So that's how I got online. I came online because I quit my job, and I needed to find a way to generate leads for my home-based business at the time.
Yeah. So when you first got started, I mean, you obviously got a lot of enthusiasm, but when you first got started, I'm sure things didn't start off going gangbusters right off the bat. What would you say were some of the major things that you had to learn to start getting results?
Well, yeah, definitely things didn't start off like gangbusters at all for me. I think one of the first things I needed to learn was how to use technology. So, people think, so I was really, as far as technology, like I could take my laptop apart, like I could do that, but I had no idea about social media. I broke my hip a couple years ago, and I was laid up for quite some time, right? I just had to like lay there because I couldn't move because my hip was broken. So I found out about that Facebook from playing Farmville, right? So one of the first things, so in there, I bring that up so like what technical aptitude I was. I didn't know how to use Facebook. I was like, oh, this Farmville thing's awesome. And I thought that was Facebook. I thought Farmville was Facebook. Then they were like, no, it's just a game in Facebook. And I was like, oh, you could talk to people in here? Like, wow, this is the weirdest thing. So when I came online, I didn't even know how to use social media. Literally for the first, I think it was like, I think we finally counted back. It was like 47 days or 49 days because there were 7-day increments. I think it was 49 days. So I think 7 weeks in a row, I got shut down 7 days at a time for spamming on Facebook because I just didn't know how it worked, right? I just had no idea. People were like, share your link. And I was like, oh man, I'm in 200 groups. Watch this. Boom, 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 boom. And then Facebook would shut me down. So one of the first things that I had to learn was how to really network and talk to people and use the online platforms to do that. And I didn't realize that these online platforms, these social networks, really were places where we could socialize. I thought it was just a place where I was supposed to go out and, you know, plaster my link everywhere. So that was the first thing, I think, was learning that you could really actually use these social networks to really network with people. And then I think the second thing was to really realize that technical challenges were just that. They were just technical challenges. They were nothing that, there was no technical challenge that was out there that was like unsolved, that I wasn't going to be able to reach out to someone like yourself, someone like Katrina, someone that had the ability to just reach out and go, oh, just go do this or click on that, and that will fix it. So I think once I overcame those two first initial hurdles, that was the first thing that started to then get me actually into momentum.
Right, right. And so, you know, so you realized that sending your link out to 200 groups is not networking on social media. Yeah, so that's awesome. So when you went to your first live event, what was your biggest takeaway there? I mean, what were some of the things, you know, I mean, like you said, coming up, and this is an anniversary for you, but this time you're coming at it from the other end of the spectrum, and that you're going to be speaking on stage instead of watching the people on stage. But what was the biggest breakthrough for you, you know, coming out of that first live event?
Man, there were so many. I think really the biggest breakthrough was really just going and meeting the people and seeing that they were real people. Really, that was so big. I remember that I got to I started this morning. I started my montage from year one to this year, to all the people. Like, look at, these are all the people that I met at this specific event for the first time. I met Ray Higdon for the first time at this event. I met Brian Finale. I met Mark Hoverson. I met Gary Vaynerchuk. Right. I met Eric Worre. I met Ray and Fernie, right? I met those guys. I met Tim Irway. I met Matt Crystal. I met, right? Like, you're like, oh my gosh, I met all these people. This was at this event for the first time. And it wasn't just that I met them, because the very first time I met them, I was so like, I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it. Like, it was like I was at how I felt was like I was at the Academy Awards. I was like, did anyone just notice that Ray Higdon just touched me? Like, he just walked by me. Like, he was, like, I was pretending to take pictures of people across a room, and I was taking selfies of the people behind me. I was like, oh my gosh, did you just see who walked by me? Like, you won't believe it, but I'm standing next to Jesse Jameson, like, boop, boop, like, right? I was like, did you guys notice that Bill and Michelle Pesco-Solido are behind me? Get a quick picture of that. Boop, right? So that was like so exciting to me. But the biggest takeaway from that was that once I got to actually talk to all of these people, I got to see that they were just like me. I mean, they weren't just like me. They weren't bald and goofy and have big ears, right? But they were just like me in the sense that they were just like me. They were just a person. And then when you asked them, they were like, oh yeah, man, 2 years ago I didn't know anything, and then I did this. Or 4 years ago I was broke and going bankrupt, right? Ray's telling you about how he's like, I didn't have any money, dude. I was going, like, it was over, right? And then this is what I did. And so I was like, wow, these are real people that took real steps that other people showed them, and they got results. So if I take the steps that they're showing me, then I have that opportunity to get those results too. And that takeaway, right? And being able to like really talk to the people and see that they were real people, that they weren't just in the computer, it was invaluable. And the only person, I'm going to tell you this is to this day, the only person, so that I always, whenever I go to talk to Dagan, I always feel like I don't have a smart enough question to ask. Like, I can't just go say, hi, Dagan. I have to have like a smart question. I don't know why, but in my head it always seems like I need to have some like smart question for him. So Dagan Smith, one day I'll have a question for you, sir.
Yeah. That's awesome. That's
I can
awesome.
totally relate to that though, because I met him at another live event, and I really went up to him, and I totally blew the whole introduction with him. Like I was like, I'm not sure what you're doing. I don't know. Like it was just a horrible. Like, I understand. Like you feel like you had like this top end high like level question for him.
I did that. What you just said, that's what I did. And the funny part about it, Katrina, is my buddy watched me do it, and he's like, dude, I was totally watching you. That was hilarious. I was like, really? Right? Thanks a lot, Dave. Like, thanks a lot, buddy. Like, he introduced me, and then he just let me. He's like, sink or swim, buddy. Like, good luck with that. So, you know, the funny part is, though, that the truth of the matter is that when you go to these live events, when you really get to start connecting with the people that are having success, and really I think that's one of the things that we need to do in our lives, in our business, is start to hanging out with other people that are getting the result that we desire, right? So we can start to be around that result, so we can start see and feel and experience what that lifestyle's like, what that business model looks like. And the reality is that all of those other people, except for that one person that I have that thing, right? Like that was imposed by me. All of those other people were totally welcoming. They were totally like I was totally able to interact with them on multiple different levels. And so because of that interaction with other people, that's what really makes this business that we're in, these home-based businesses and this entrepreneurial spirit that we all have, that's what makes it all stick and work, is the relationships that we're building.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, I think the more people that you can connect with, the more successful you'll be. And you know, it's almost a direct correlation. You know, the more people you connect with, the more success you'll have in your life. And
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's awesome. So, Katrina, you got some questions for Bert that I haven't asked up to this point?
Yeah, well, I missed the first ones because apparently my internet and my computer together did not like me. I upgraded my speed on my internet today, and all of a sudden it just decided to crash during the beginning part of the Hangout. So, you know, that's pretty typical, right?
Well, that's good. Actually, I haven't been monitoring the chat here. Do we have any questions in the Q&A or?
Not yet. I'm waiting for a couple of.
Actually,
I have a live audience attending from this side of it. I've got Bernadette with me here in Florida. Before we head off to No Excuses, I have her here, and she's usually pretty good about asking questions. But right now she's got her mouth full of food, so I can't pick her brain right now.
Perfect.
But I guess one of the questions I have, and this is something that we come up with a lot, or we come up against, is that we go to these live events and we meet all these people, and yet when we get home, there's nothing. There's again that void again, that energy, that excitement. So how do you stay connected with the people that you meet at live events? What would be something that you would recommend? Because you talked about meeting these people, engage with them, find out that they're pretty normal and regular. Like, what was a way that you stayed connected with people after a live events?
Well, one of the ways, you know, for the leaders, when I saw these leaders, the first thing I did is if I didn't know who they were, like prior to the event, or I wasn't connected with them in social media, I went right away. And it's one of the great things about these workshops and about these live events is that you can take your laptops, you have your smartphones and everything right there. And so that you can, like, you know, everyone's showing you where they're at. You know, they're telling you, they're saying their names, that, you know, everything's plastered everywhere. And you can walk up and just ask them. And you can start going, following and friending the people. That's the first thing that I started doing. And then literally when I got home, I started reaching out to the people that I was, just like you would do anywhere in any other field, the people that I was most attracted to, I started reaching out to, and I was like, hey, how can I connect into more of what you're doing? What is it that you're doing, right? And then you find out, well, if you want to connect more with, you know, Tim Irway, then Tim's got, you know, X, Y, and Z going on this night, and you can go plug into it, right? Or you can get into his exclusive coaching that he's going to have, that they have, you know, in Chicago. Go tap into that. That's what he's got available right now. If you want to go, you know, maybe you saw someone on the panel and you were like, wow, that person was super dynamic. I want to, like, learn what they're doing, right? So then you go and connect with them, and you're like, hey, I really dug what – I just be me, and I just tell them, like, hey, man, I thought what you did was awesome. How can I connect more with you? Then just ask them. If you go and ask people, I'm telling you this, if you ask someone, how can I connect more with you, they'll tell you, right? And everyone has, like, these different ideas and all these different, like, oh, go see how you can serve them. Go see how you can be of value. I just go tell them, how can I connect with you? I just ask them, hey, how could I connect with you more? And then let them, like, I'm always, no matter if I'm reaching up or if I'm reaching sideways or if I'm reaching down, right? However I'm reaching, I'm always trying to think of literally just how can I connect? Not like, is there some like other like alternative, like ulterior motive, right? Like an alternate reason. No, like, listen, just tell me how to connect. I want to meet them where they are. So if I'm reaching out to a colleague or if I'm reaching down to someone that's trying to, you know, like get a start, or if I'm reaching up to a mentor, I'm still always trying to reach them where they're at. So that's it. I just ask, how can I connect? And I'm telling you, every single time they'll tell you of like 15 different ways. Well, you can buy my program, you can come send me an email, you can watch a webinar, you can, you know what I mean? They'll tell you like 27 different things, and then you got to like, it's like you have a buffet then.
Yeah, perfect. Perfect. So I want to know about the goats.
Goats?
Everybody wants to know about the goats.
So the goats are like my wife's project. You know, this whole thing started a couple of years ago. My wife and I were not happy with where we were at in our health. And so I was working for a local chiropractor, and we started changing our health, and we started changing the way we were eating and living, and that's what got me into the original home-based business, was a health company. And as when I quit my job and as I started to build my home-based business, it was like my wife was sponsoring the Bert Project, and I was doing all this stuff for me, but I wasn't really like, what was my wife getting? And so my wife is really into the animals and stuff, and we had some goats before, and the statutes weren't right, and they finally got changed in Colorado where you could have small goats. And so we got the goats because we wanted to have fresh milk, right? And then we got the chickens so we could have fresh eggs, and we started doing rabbits for originally we were going to do rabbits for some stew meat, and we're going to have rabbit stew and some other things, and we're going to trade with some other people. And then the bunnies that we kept having were so fluffy and cute that people just wanted to buy the little baby bunnies. So then we just got into like just, you know, selling the little Angora bunnies. So now we have, you know, what we were able to do because of the success that we had in home-based business, because of our online marketing and what we've been able to do. We've actually been able to pay off our cars, right? We've been able to pay our debt off, and we were able to literally like bring my wife home from her corporate job. So now this is like her job, right? The urban homestead is like her job. So I do the gardening part in the building, and then she like takes care of all the animals. So she really does like all the animal husbandry. And the bottom line is, goats gets you leads too, Doug. You know, yeah. Like anytime, like that one thing that's fun about this is not very many people have goats in the city, right? And so, you know, when you add that into the mix, and now you all of a sudden you're the guy that has goats in the city, everyone's like, wow, what's this guy? How do you have goats? Like, what is that all about? And then, you know, it's a great conversation piece, you know? And then for all those people that are healthy or want to live a different, you know, alternative lifestyle, those people as well are able to come and look at what we're doing and go, wow, this is a really cool thing. So it's attractive on a bunch of different levels, and it enables us to be able to reach out to so many more people, to be able to carry the message of, you know, of financial freedom and of time freedom, and really of living a life that you want to live, right? Like, stop making excuses in your life and start to live the life that you want to live, that you deserve to live. Because that's really when the bottom line came to push and shove about our whole entire life, Doug, and what we were doing and why we wanted to have the goats and have the chickens and live this way, was because we wanted to live a life that we picked. My wife and I, right? We wanted to live a life that we said, like, this is a life that we want to, every day I want to wake up. I personally want to wake up every day and say, this is a life that I want to have. I don't ever want to wake up again and wake up and be like, oh man, I'm stuck in this life, right? I don't ever want to have that. And so the goats and the farm and all of this stuff is like an extension of like our dreams coming real, right? And that's what happens when you really focus and you really get to work and you go after your dreams. Pretty soon your dreams become the reality, and then you get newer, bigger, better dreams. I don't even know if they're better, but they're bigger.
Yeah, they're bigger.
Because now my dream isn't that we want to have a different kind of, like, a different, bigger, better animal. We just want more goats, right? Get more property so you can have more goats.
Yeah, I think there's one key message in there that that I picked up, and that is that you jokingly you said and the goats can get you leads, but really I think the bigger message is that if you live your life the way you want to live your life, it makes you attractive, and people want to figure out how do you do that, and that's what brings you the leads. It's being you. It's just being yourself. And so yeah, but that's huge. So I do have one question that we always ask our guests that usually stumps them. I doubt it'll stump you. But you were asked the question over the weekend and you gave an answer, so now that one won't work. And the question is, you got to tell us something about Bert that you've never told anybody else before.
Geez, something about me. So I told you guys a good one this weekend that I never told anyone about. That I never told. I guess does it have to be I never told anyone, like anyone ever on the whole planet, or that I've never told anyone online in the online marketing world?
Yes.
The second one or the first one?
I'd go with the second one.
Okay, the second one.
I'm gonna give you a way out.
So if it's something that so I'll tell a fun. Okay, so here's something that I don't think anyone knows this. Well, there's like 3 or 4 people that know this, so this is a good one. So the very first live event that I went to, the very first No Excuses that I went to, most people don't know this, but I bought a normal ticket, a normal everyday average Joe guy ticket, and when I got there, they were talking about the VIP, and I was like, oh my gosh, I gotta go to the VIP! So I called my business partner at the time, and I was like, hey, if I go to this VIP thing, I can meet all the people, and it will be totally valuable for us. Will you split the cost? My business partner was like, yeah, I'll totally split the cost, but I can't send you the money till like next Tuesday. And this was like Thursday. And I was like, all right, thanks. That doesn't really help me because I'm in Las Vegas and I don't have enough money. So on this same day, I didn't have enough money. This is my very first live event, my online networking event, or an online marketing event, first one ever. We're in the MGM Grand. Now, this is the crazy part. The next day, I'm going to get like my first like 5-figure like MLM check that I've ever got, right? Like it's my first like big one. I'm like, woo! Like I'm pumped, right? But in my bank that night, right then when I needed to get the VIP, I didn't have enough money yet, right? I had like all the money I had in my pocket. So I literally had to walk up to, and so I hung up the phone with my business partner. The only person that I know at the event, right? The only person I know, I had just met like 2 hours before for the very first time face to face. I had met him before online and stuff. I knew them, but I never met him face to face. So I literally had to walk up to Bill Pesco-Solido in the middle of the lobby of the No Excuses event. And I was now you can imagine, I'm 40 years old, okay? I'm a grown man. I'm like walking up to a guy that I know is like crushing it in his business. He's been a mentor of mine. I'm watching him and his wife. They're showing me, some things that they've been learning, and we're working together in this MLM. And I need to go to this VIP. I'm convinced of it so bad that I just sucked it all up, and I just walked up and I was like, Bill, I need to ask you a really big favor. And he stopped. He was like walking. He literally stopped, and he's like, what do you need? And I was like, man, I just need to borrow a couple bucks because I want to go to this VIP thing. And I wasn't even finished telling the sentence, and his hand was already in his pocket, and he was ready, and he's like, how could I help you? Right? And he broke off the amount. I told him what I need to borrow, and he broke that money off to me, and he handed it to me. He said, hey, Bert, you go make it worth it. Right? Go make it worth it.
That's
and
awesome.
He knew, I worked with him and Michelle, so they knew that I was going to be able to give him that money back, of course. But no one, a lot of people don't know that I wouldn't have been able, without Bill and Michelle, to be able to do that for me. I wouldn't have been able to go VIP. And the funny part is this: the next year after that, we're all standing around and we're all playing. Now, flash forward a year. I'm standing next to Bill Pesco-Solido and Ray Higdon and Michelle and Diane and Tim and everyone's there, right? And Ferdy, and we're all playing craps, right? And Bill looks over at me and goes, hey, bro, can I borrow some money? Right? So now this is the fun part. So I break out a $50 bill, and I give it to Bill, and he looks at me, and he's like, really? all I can get is a 50 because he had given me a couple more dollars at $50 that afternoon. So I gave him $100 and of course, you know, they gave me the chip back on the next day and you know, what a great story. What a fun thing to be able to share with people that, you know what? I was there. I was at the event where we drove our car out there. We stayed. We didn't even stay at the MGM. And check this out. We didn't even stay where the event was because I couldn't afford it. And check this out. We parked the car at the MGM and took like the bus shuttle back and forth to our hotel because I didn't want to park my car at my hotel, right? And that's what I want people to know is we all started there. And maybe you didn't start out broke. Maybe you started and you just retired from a great business. Maybe, you know, maybe you're looking to extend your business. Whatever it is that you're looking to do, just so you know, every single one of us has a story just like that. Every one of us has a story about where we had to reach out and ask someone for help. And the great news is there was someone there. There was someone there to help us.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we have run out of time. It's amazing how quick 29 minutes goes by. And so I'm getting some feedback there. I don't know if that's from you, Katrina, or I think we're okay now. Oh, there's my timer. So it really is timeout. But Bert, before we close out on our end, why don't you tell people how they can connect with you?
The easiest way is just go to my website. Just go to bertbledsoe.com and grab my newsletter and you'll get all my contact info.
Okay. Okay.
We do have a couple of minutes still. I'm showing, according to my clock, like 3 minutes.
Nice.
Okay. So there's one question. Yeah, there's a question up here that says, what daily tips do you swear by to balance your business and your life, farming, etc.?
I'm going to tell you the very first thing I think is the most important thing is personal development. I think that's the most important, crucial thing. I think you need to go pour into yourself every single day. You need to become a better person. No matter who you are, there's always room for improvement. Whether, you know what I'm saying, the Dalai Lama, that guy seems like he's a pretty great guy. And that guy talks about he's still trying to become like a better guy. And I'm like, really? You seem like the most calmest, like most well-adjusted, you know what I mean, person that I could imagine on the planet. You seem pretty good. So I would say go for personal development. And if you do that one thing, if you go pour into yourself that one thing of personal development, the rest of your day is taken care of. Because now, by taking care of yourself, by feeding yourself, you now have something to go back and give to everyone else. You know, the mama bird always flies away, and she goes and fills up, and then she comes back, and then she feeds the baby birds, right? Because check this out. If you're not filled up, if you're not feeding yourself, how are you going to help anyone else? How are you going to go out and share if you don't have your own cup full? Perfect. That's the one thing to swear by. Perfect. Perfect answer.
That's extremely powerful. I just got a good image of that one that I hadn't really seen before. That thing got me thinking now. Thanks.
Uh-oh. Watch out, Katrina's thinking.
No, it's a good thing, Bert. It's a good thing.
Yeah.
No, because we all struggle. We all have things that keep us from small, that keep us down, that we struggle with, you know, that hold us back from growing and becoming bigger and embracing that business aspect of ourselves and embracing that internet lifestyle and the success we want to have. And we all kind of stumble through it. It's part of this growing process and learning how to deal with it. And I think, you know, you got to feed yourself. You have to feed your mind. I know when I don't read a book, when I'm not putting something towards my mindset, I know my business goes.
Exactly. Every time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Every time.
So,
all right.
Yeah, it's time. Go. You can do the wrap up, Chef K.
Bert, it's been amazing to have you on this 29-minute hangout. You've got to come back and play with us again. Absolutely. So, guys, if you want to catch the hangout, catch the replay on this one, go ahead and like our Google Plus page, The Elite Marketing Chefs. You can also catch all of our replays on iTunes and get a chance to listen to Bert share his wisdom again. I'm going to have to listen to it because I apparently missed most of it, and I apologize for that. But look forward to seeing you at No Excuses. You guys, everybody, have a great evening, and thank you for joining us on this 29-minute hangout.